All right. So I am going to prove to you that the median is the same as the average of both of the bases in a trapezoid. So in a trapezoid, we know that the two bases do have to be parallel. So I'm going to mark that. And then I'm going to mark that top one as base 1. And it doesn't really matter because we're just using variables here as long as we don't name them the same thing. And then base 2. So a median is that segment that connects the midpoints of the sides of a trapezoid. So I know it's not straight enough. I want to make sure that it's parallel. So I know that that's also going to be parallel. And I just split each side in half. And I'm going to call this guy the base median. Okay. So if I look at the area of that entire trapezoid, we just learned that that's going to be our height times our two bases added together. So base 1 plus base 2, all divided by 2. Okay. But that should be the same thing as if I added the two different trapezoids we just created. So if I look at this first trapezoid, boom, 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 boom. See how good that works for me? Not bad. If I look at that first trapezoid versus the other bottom trapezoid, we want to think about how are these two things related. And just for our sake, I am going to label the height. So if I connect that right here, that's going to be my height of my trapezoid. Okay. So then if I label the other information I know based off of trapezoids, I know that this angle is going to be congruent to this because of alternate corresponding angles, and those are parallel lines. This is also going to be perpendicular. So now I know these two triangles. I'm going to put letters there just to help us. A, B, C, and then D. So now I know triangle ABC is similar to triangle A, E, A, letters are important, D, E, by angle similarity. Okay, so then if I were to redraw those two triangles, I have triangle A, B, C, and triangle A, D, E. That are similar. So now if I look at what we have already marked, I know that AC is the height of my trapezoid. No, iPad is not liking me today. And if I label AD as X, then this also has to be X, which means AB is 2X. And AD is just X. Well, if I look at the relationship between that, that would mean AE is 1/2 of our height. So now I can label that as 1/2 of our height, which means this has to be half of our height. Okay. And that's going to help me because I want to figure out the area of both of those trapezoids. So now if I look at my red, the trapezoid highlighted in red, that area has to be 1/2 of our height times base 1 plus the base of our median divided by 2. And then if I look at the blue trapezoid, I know that that has to also be 1/2 of our height times base 2 plus our base of the median divided by 2. Okay. Now after this, just a whole bunch of algebra. So the first thing I notice is that they're all over 2. So I know that means that our numerators have to be equal to each other because they have common denominators. Oops. Okay. I also see that every single one has that h, so I'm going to divide both sides by h. And while I'm there, I'm also going to distribute the 1/2. Okay. So I really just added those together. I know that they have to be the same. It's just splitting a trapezoid into 2 different trapezoids. So now I can see I have 1/2 of my base, that's the median, 1/2 of the base of the median, which just means that's one of the base medians. And then I've got some like terms here as well, and I'm just going to move them over. So I'm going to subtract 1/2 of base 1 from both sides, and then subtract 1/2 of base 2 from both sides. So after I do that, I get 1/2 of base 1 plus 1/2 of base 2 equals base, that's your median. Okay. Well, if I factor out the 1/2 there, I get 1/2 of base 1 plus base 2 is the same thing as the base, that's the median. And this is the exact same thing as the average. So there's your proof.